Westwood Club, Rancho Bernardo, California. Welcome to our Celebrity All-Star Softball Classic, featuring the United States All-American Softball Team versus the Major League Baseball stars and some celebrities. Hello, everyone. Eddie Doucette. Baseballers against softballers. We've heard that controversy many, many times. Tom, how do you think it'll go?
Well, we've got some very talented people out here for the Major League stars, people who have made it to the top of their profession. After watching them take batting practice and watching the softball fellas take batting practice, my money's got to go with the softballers.
Gene Tennis, Young Flannery of the San Diego Padres, Tim Lawler, some of the names. We have more. We'll tell you about those. Ray, how about your fellas? The wind blowing in just a little bit. Do you think that will dent some of that power that we've seen so much this week?
Eddie, it'll hurt the psyches of a lot of these players, but with the power still there and the balls will still fly out. But I would like to suggest that you pay special attention to the defense.
Okay.
That separates the men from the boys.
All right, let's go down.
Some of the all-star pros as well as some of the major league players. Looks like an exciting afternoon. Back to you.
Okay, Ben, thank you very much. Might mention that as big as the all-stars are, the softball all-stars, there's one fellow on that major league cast that's just as big. His name is Frank Howard. He'll be DHing. The advantage that those fellows will have is that they'll bat 11 against the softballers who will put 10 men out there. And the major leaguers will have a DH, and that'll be Frank Howard. A difference in balls as well. And we'll talk about that as we get into it. One hot, one not quite so hot, but it'll be fun. We'll have it all for you when we resume right here at Rancho Bernardo.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right. The festivities move on here at the Westwood Club in Rancho Bernardo, California. Let's take a look at our lineups. First of all, we'll give you the lineups for the major leaguers. These are the gents that are going to be performing and some of the names that you'll hear a little bit about. Tim Flannery will lead it off from the San Diego Padres, plays second base. Eddie Herman, formerly of the Chicago White Sox, and many others, catching. Darren Johnson, now a coach with the Philadelphia Phils and a great long ball hitter at first. Frank Howard will be the designated hitter. He's a coach with the Mets now, formerly the manager of the Padres. Kurt Bavacqua will be playing in left center field. Alan Trammell, the shortstop from the Detroit Tigers. Jay Johnstone of the Chicago Cubs playing in left field. Randy Johnson will be at third base. He is from the Atlanta Braves. Bob Miller, now a coach in the Giant organization and a longtime pitcher and a good one, will be playing in right center. Tim Lawler, fine right-hander of the San Diego Padres, in right field, and the pitcher will be the veteran Don Storitz. Don Storitz will be on the mound. He is a local Powegian here in California. You see the All-Stars taking the field. We'll take a look at their starting lineup right now. Richard Wilborn in left field. Mike Salura will be in left center field. Bruce Meade will be in right center field. That's the man you want to watch. Bill Pollock at first base, batting cleanup. Don Walden will be the pitcher. Charles Wright will be at second base. Glenn Atkinson will catch. Jeffrey Pick will be in right field. Rod Bartlett, the shortstop, and Ken Dane will be at third. Not exactly household names if you're an avid Major League Baseball follower, but if you're among those who really follow this great game of slow pitch softball, you'll know them well, because this is the pick of the litter, the best in the world of slow pitch softball. And you're going to see some amazing things with the bats here this afternoon. And while we await the throwing out of the first pitch, you see the umpires. The honorary crew chief will be Bob Beeson. At home will be Ron Brulette. At first base, Jerry Bjork. At second will be Gary Murphy. At third will be Joe Maiden. Alex Serpis will be in left field. And in right will be Tom Monday. They've gone all out. They've got a crew that is second to none. And the very first pitch of the ball game will be thrown out by the man who heads up the San Diego Padres and who's done a very nice job helping to restructure this organization. This is Ballard Smith. That didn't take him long. First pitch was low and inside, and that'll do it for his athletic career, Tom Griffin.
He kept the ball down, didn't he, Eddie?
How tough is it to try and get that ball over the strike zone, Ray Malfi, when you're firing it up there from what's the distance and the trajectory that we have to look for here today?
47 feet, Eddie, and it's the pitching that plays such a big part in winning national championships in this game. The arc has to be 3 feet from the point of the pitcher's release, and it's a maximum of up to 12 feet.
All right, you'll have to remind us about that as we move along. Donnie Walden, U.S. All-American softball team pitcher. What about this fella? What kind of credentials does he bring in here, Ray?
Well, Donnie, as I got a chance to mention briefly, is also quite a football player, but he is a hungry softball player, Eddie. He's over here almost every week.
They're saying that he waited for the tag, and he went to third base.
That was a real major league catch there, Eddie. There goes Kurt back. Look at him judging. Now he has the field for the fence and that little hill out there.
Kurt played that very well because he got back to the fence before the ball reached there, and that's a very, very important thing to do.
Charles Wright.
Charles Wright, the Georgia Peach from Columbus, Georgia, has played on a number of national champions, and Charles is a highly desired player. There's the appeal at second. It is denied. What do you think of that, Eddie?
Well, I thought maybe that he should have had it. I thought he left early on the play. But the umpire at second base says nay. The umpire out there at second base is Gary Murphy.
And his is the only opinion that counts.
That's for sure. 2 down, 2 in, runner at third base. Bottom of the first. Ball will not carry quite as well, although Bavacqua right to the edge of the fence, and he is going to pull it in. So that'll do it. 2 runs on 3 hits. They leave 1 at the end of 1. The National Slow Pitch All-American team. 2, and the Major League stars and celebrities, nothing. And we'll continue right on. It's 2-0. You don't want to confuse you by the graphic you just saw. 2-0 is the score of the ball game. 2-run scoring, Wilborn and Solora. And so, with a 2-0 lead now, the All-Stars will go out to the field defensively. And Kurt Bavacqua is standing by right now with Ben David. Let's get on to Ben.
Nice catch. What happened? Well, it went in my glove. Oh, we gotta try to get to everything we can with these guys.
Is the wind interfering with you at all?
No, but it's not. It's hurting them, I think.
Back to you.
Okay, Ben. Thank you very much. And the first hitter will be Big Frank Howard. I go a long way back with this fellow, back into the middle and late 50s. I saw him hit a ball up in East Lansing, Michigan, over a river and over a tree about 500 feet away. And he pulls it foul. So Howard, as big as they come, you talk to many people, they'll tell you they're probably one of the biggest people in the land when it comes to overall size. Right here, Frank Howard. Frank, the designated hitter. Great years with the Dodgers and the Washington Senators. Coach with the Milwaukee Brewers. Manager with the San Diego Padres. And now with George Bamberger with the Mets as a coach. Big Frank takes his time running down the first base line. He never was a gazelle. Easy 5-3 out.
Frank, one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet in the game of baseball, too. Aside from striking the fear of God in your heart when you have to pitch against him, he's a nice man.
They ought to call this guy ever ready. This is Kurt Bavacqua, and he has more than 9 lives. Many times I figured he was out of the game, but he keeps coming back. A just unbelievably strong, burning desire to play and compete. And Bavacqua has found himself in a very good position here as a utility player with the San Diego Padres. He's playing in left center, had 2 putouts in the first inning, even though the softballers lead it 2-0. Shortstop, that's Ron Cutler. Over to Bill Pollock at first base. And good hustle by Kurt Bavacqua. That's the way he plays the game, Tom. Kurt Bavacqua
is one of those guys that is so essential to a Major League ball club. Kurt will play anywhere for you. He'll do anything he can to win a ball game. He's been around a lot, but he's been very valuable to everybody he's ever played for. Here's Alan Trammell.
Trammell with the Detroit Tigers. He and Lou Whitaker form a sweet double play combination over there. Trammell, a shortstop, and Whitaker, their second baseman. They came up at the same time, and the Tigers figure they've got a middle of the infield combination for many years to come. Inside pull foul. Donnie Walden pitching. Glenn Atkinson is the catcher for this softball crew, with Kenny Dane at third, Ron Bartlett at short, Charles Wright at second, Bill Pollock at first. Outfielder Rich Wilborn, Mike Solera in left center, Bruce Meade in right center, and Jeff Pick in right. That's right back up the middle, so Trammell and the Major Leaguers have something going with one down and runners at first and second here in the top of the second inning.
Sparky Anderson once said of Alan Trammell, he's the best shortstop he's ever seen. When you consider that includes Dave Concepcion from Cincinnati, that is really quite a compliment for Alan Trammell.
It really is. And when he made that comment, he got a lot of stares from people, but he may know what he's talking about. This is Randy Johnson of Atlanta, and he hit him where they want. That's right back up the middle. Well, back around the turn, here he comes, and scores on the play.
I think that was Jay Johnstone.
That's right, they changed the lineup on us. Excuse us, Jay Johnstone, who was inserted in the last moment. And Jay is the left fielder. Now we're going to get Randy Johnson. I should remind you again, they're playing 11 against 10. They've given the Major Leaguers one extra player, and that is Frank Howard, the designated hitter. Now Randy Johnson from Atlanta. And the fly ball to the left fielder, Rich Wilborn. Tagging at third and coming home is Alan Trammell. And so now it's 2-2 as they've tied the ball game on that hit by Johnstone, driving in the first run, and Randy Johnson on the sacrifice fly ball, driving in the second. That's going to bring in Bob Miller.
Bob Miller is a guy who has been around as long as baseball has been around. Now, let's see what kind of a hitter he is. He was a good pitcher for Los Angeles Dodgers for many, many years, along with the Pittsburgh Pirates and 4 or 5 other ball clubs, and is currently in the front office with the San Francisco Giants. Look at Bob.
And that'll do it for the inning. Not before the Major Leaguers come up with a couple of runs on 3 hits and leave 1. He played 1.5 innings so far here in Rancho Bernardo. We're all even at 2-2. Frank Howard is the fellow that we talked about. He's kind of made it interesting here in that he is the odd man out. As the odd man and the designated hitter, he adds a nice little dimension for the Major Leaguers. And he's standing by now at bench. Let's go and meet Frank Howard.
Frank Howard with 384 career home runs, now living in San Diego, but still with the Mets in New York.
Yeah.
What's it look like for this year?
Well, we think we're going to be a better ball club. We made some changes, and we're going to go with a young pitching staff and a couple of veterans in Tom Seaver and Mike Torres. We hope that we're going to stabilize a lot of those young arms, but we've got to be better, and we think we're going to be better.
You're out here to play slow pitch.
I think it's for a great cause. I think all of us that live in the area and can participate in the game. We know we're playing against some guys that are very skilled at this game, but we hope to have a lot of fun and hope to put on a pretty good show for the people here.
What kind of preparation have you made for this?
Well, I think that we didn't overtrain, that's for sure. No, we just kind of teeing it up and going to go for it, but I think we have enough skilled athletes that are currently playing in professional baseball that'll carry some of us older players.
All right, that sounds like the way he played the game. Never known to overtrain, but always known to tee it up, Frank Howard. Live action, Glenn Atkinson. And he's playing right now. Atkinson is the catcher for the softballers.
We've got a few guys out here, Eddie, that have not overtrained at all on both sides of the field.
Deep!
Oh, that's a typical Atkinson shot.
You can forget about this one. That's over 2 fences. And up near somebody's condominium. And so Atkinson and the slow pitch All-American team have taken a 1-run lead. And Atkinson on the turn. Is he known as a long ball hitter, Ray?
He certainly is, Eddie. He is, I said before, the best player in Las Vegas, and he's looking to catch on with one of the bigger open teams now. Fine player.
Watch this swing. Millot.
Sadahara O.
Yeah, he got all of that. And Lawler going back. There's nothing there he can do but watch. And watch. And watch. And Ben David's got the man that just cranked one out. Ben?
I just got it all. You know, just right where I like them. That's where I like to hit them all the time. Back to you.
Jeff Pick, as we pick him up right away in a long foul ball. Jeff Pick is playing right field for Major Leaguers. The Major League All-Star softballers. I suppose it's fair to say that they're Major Leaguers. Wouldn't you say that, Ray?
There's no question about that, Eddie. These are the best in the country. This is Pickles' pick, by the way, Eddie. How'd you like to carry that handle around with you?
Pickles' pick. Is that what he calls his bat, or is that what they call him?
Well, he pickles a lot of balls, Eddie. I think that's where it probably comes from.
All right, Jeff Pick. And he just went after that one. And Jay Johnstone in left field will bring it in. So base hit for Jeff Pick. And that is the 5th hit of the afternoon for the All-Stars from the All-American team.
All right, here's 6 feet 2 inch, 190-pound Ron Bartlett, 26 years old. Ron was an all-city baseball player when he played at Napa, California High School, Eddie. A lot of these boys have good baseball backgrounds.
Don Storitz, the pitcher you're looking at. Plays here in California. Has been playing a lot of ball. That's through the hole. Shortstop, the third baseman couldn't get to it. Randy Johnson or Alan Trammell. And so now 2 on and nobody out with a run in. And Rod Bartlett is on with a hit. And they start to roll those hits up. These games can get very high scoring, can't they, Ray?
Oh, yes, Eddie. We had a national championship game a couple of years ago in Sacramento, California. It was 86-12.
86-12. How many hours?
That was terrible. It took us over 3 hours.
Deep off the bat of Kenny Dane. Up goes Bravacqua, and the man in left field, I should say, Jay Johnstone. That one is way out of the parking lot, a 3-run home run. So a 3-run home run for Ken Dane, the third baseman. And they've added 4 here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and now lead 6-2.
Kenny will occasionally do that, Eddie, but his nickname is the Rope, which is more typical of the style of hitting that he normally exhibits. But once in a while, he gets under the ball there just enough to get it up and out, as you just saw.
The wind has calmed a little bit, and obviously had no effect on that. Rich Wilborn, as we go to the top of the order. Rich had a double and scored in the first. Rich is the left fielder for the slow pitchers.
Richard is a lieutenant in the San Antonio Fire Department.
Johnstone coming on. Jay Johnstone just signed a new contract with the Chicago Cubs after coming over from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Been with the Padres here locally, and of course the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago White Sox, and he's been a good athlete throughout his career. And so with a runner on at first base and still no outs, Mike Salura.
Mike is out of Burbank, Eddie. 6'3", 230 pounds, 28 years old. Was an instant success on the national scene when he got his first break back in 77. Actually, 76, he played for Capital Insulation in 6 and 7. And he made All-World in 77, and he hasn't missed since.
Popped it up. Johnstone's got to come hard. Loses the cap. I've seen him do that about a few thousand times. And he can't quite get to it. Trammell gave chase. Randy Johnson gave chase. Tom, you've talked to some of the fellas that you used to play with, some of your peers. Are they using the same gloves that they use during a major league season?
I don't think they're going to do anything different out here today, Eddie, other than try to hit that ball as it arcs towards home plate and try to catch it as it beads down on them. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm sitting up here in the booth and not playing third base or shortstop the way I've seen some of these guys hit the balls this afternoon.
I've seen you hit a few too, Mr. Griffin.
I was not a bad hitting pitcher.
Let's take a look at that. That's foul also, I believe. Johnstone, I think, is going to get a lot of work at. I hope he brought 2 pairs of running shoes. That's Salura, who really crushed that one. What kind of home run statistics have we seen this young man have over the years, Ray?
Well, all kinds, Eddie. As a matter of fact, he was the national home run hitting champion in a contest that was run for 4 or 5 years by George Taylor down at Corpus Christi.
Storitz pitching and in the hole, and that is some very clever hitting that time. They expected him to get it all and go the left field side, but he goes the opposite way and he moves the runner up to third. And now the softballers with runners at second and third, and still no outs here in the 2nd inning.
That's how these fellas get to play for national championship teams. They'll do what they have to do and confuse the opposition once in a while.
Mike have a little conference out there right now, Ray. We've got Randy Jones, Eddie Herman, the catcher, and Don Storch. Randy Jones has heard enough of these conversations, I'm sure, in his career. So we're getting somebody ready somewhere in the bullpen. Somewhere, some place in this ballpark, there is one.
Where is the bullpen out here?
Randy Jones, the pitching coach for Dave Garcia, going out. And he and Storch and Eddie Herman just have a little conversation.
Randy said, get the left-hander ready.
Here we go with Bruce. Eddie, you talk about hitting and whatever. If Bruce played baseball and hit as well in that sport as he does in softball, how about these numbers? From 76 through 81, this is his yearly batting average. Forget the home runs, the whole bit. Take this one, Bruce. We'll get back to that next time.
Good play by Carroll. That's and on the play, Wilborn scoring from third. So an RBI for Bruce Meade. He's 1 for 2 for the day now. And we'll see it again. Watch this big league play by Alan Trammell.
Watch Alan Trammell as he goes to his left, comes up and makes an accurate throw to first base. One of the toughest plays in baseball right there. Very nice, Alan.
And the next hitter, Pollock. Bill Pollock, and he pops it up. This is Tim Flannery. And he certainly grabs that cantaloupe. That ball seems a little strange to these fellas. A little difference in the ball. And we have 2 down as Pollock is retired. Randy Jones standing by with Ben David. What's going on, Ben?
Well, Randy, you just were out at the mound. What was going on? A pitching change?
Well, no, not really. I just thought I'd better play pitching coach. Looked like our pitcher's a little bit rattled. Fundamentals were getting shabby. And Russian, himself, not staying on top of the breakable. So I thought I better get out there, maybe calm him down a little bit. And back upstairs.
We've heard that line before, not staying on top of the breaking ball. Here's Donnie Walden. Walden, fine professional football career possibly ahead of him after a career with Arizona State University. A young man that lives in the Phoenix area.
Tollison, actually, Eddie.
Tollison, Arizona. Hard shot. Way down. So after a rocky start, evidently the trip to the mound by Randy Jones did the trick. As Storch gets it 1, 2, 3, but not before the All-Stars come up with 5 runs on 6 hits. We played 2, and the score of the All-Stars 7, and the Major Leaguers and celebrities 2. We haven't had a chance to see Rob Reiner or Billy Crystal yet. What can we look for from them?
Billy Crystal can act and Billy Crystal can sing, but I don't know if he goes in the hole very well. Rob Reiner, a lot of these men like Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal who get the opportunity to play in a lot of these games. For instance, at Dodger Stadium, they're always having these celebrity softball game out there. I was watching Rob Reiner take batting practice, and he looked as close to an All-American All-Star as the All-Stars actually do.
I was impressed with Billy Crystal's fielding, Tom and Eddie. He handles himself like he's been to 2 or 3 games.
Well, Billy Crystal played college baseball. Rob Reiner's played a lot of ball. They play on a very active team in the Los Angeles area, composed mostly of TV showbiz type people, but it's a very competitive league, and they play at least once a week and practice at least once a week, and they take it seriously, he said. So they're athletes and run every day. I was talking to them about a track meet that I did recently, and they were talking that they often see some of the same performers that we have seen. And Billy Crystal is a young man that is star-bound, no question about it. He's with Ben David right now. Let's hear from Billy Crystal.
35-61. 35-61.
And we're with Billy Crystal, infamous of soap. What's happening?
Am I bigger in person than I am in television? These guys are ridiculous. Look at the size of these people. Things have been good, but this is tougher than an early show in Vegas or something. This is really hard.
Have you worked out with him yet?
Yeah, we worked out yesterday. And there's a guy that, have you introduced Bruce Meade to the audience yet? The man has 2 area codes on his phone number. He's the biggest person I've ever seen. And it was, I was with Mickey Mantle last week. And I thought he was big. This guy is ridiculous. But it'll be fun. It's a great cause, and it'll be fun.
What are you doing these days in your career?
I've been touring. I've been on the road touring. I was just played in Vegas last week and in Atlantic City. What I'm doing now is working towards gearing a one-man show to bring to New York. So that's what I really like to do. And if this game goes well, I may have a new career here.
You're here gathering material, at least.
All right, Billy Crystal. While we were listening to Billy, we had a base hit from Tim Lawler and a base hit by Tim Flannery. And Ed Herman is the hitter with mates at first and second, nobody out. Got into that one pretty good, but shouldn't be a problem for the man Meade that we talked about. Runners tag and move up to second and third. So Meade, the right center fielder, on the fly ball off the bat of Eddie Herman. And on the play moving along now would be Lawler to third and Flannery to second base.
Eddie Herman took a better swing than he ever did when he played.
Oh, I'm going to tell him that.
Tim Lawler, seriously, Tim Lawler is one of the best hitting pitchers I've ever seen. And I was a good hitting pitcher, but Tim is excellent and can really help himself during his games.
Here's Darren Johnson now. Popped up. It's shallow, coming hard, the left fielder. He's got to play the third baseman. At the last moment comes over, that's Ken Dane. And on the play, as you can see, they get tagged up. Bad play by the softball. As Flannery will move along to third. As they tried to get the ball back into play, and on the play, scoring from third base was Tim Lawler. So heads up base running for the Major Leaguers. That's what they're paid to do during the season. And some of it carried over, even though they're taking a few days off. This is Frank Howard. Almost as big as the charity they're playing for here today. For the benefit of muscular dystrophy. This is one of the biggest men ever, and a heart to go along with it. Just a tremendous human being, Frank Howard. Frank bounced out third, first time up. 0 for 1. Some of those gargantuan shots up in Los Angeles when he played with the Dodgers, and likewise in Washington when he played with the old Senators, are still remembered. He's the only man I've ever seen break a sweat walking from the clubhouse to the dugout.
When the California Angels were a Pacific Coast League team, I used to go out there and watch Frank. Just go out and just watch Frank, just to see the size of the man.
He hasn't changed any. He's just as big and just as nice. Popped him up. Right side, coming over there, the shortstop. They had to shift on for Howard. They had everybody around. So, in effect, the second baseman that was pulled all the way over on the left side of the infield had to come back and make it, and that was Charles Wright. So the Major Leaguers are retired, but they get a run on 2 hits, and they leave 1. We've now played 2.5, and there's your score. Eddie Doucette, Tom Griffin, and Ray Malfi, and David on the field. And in the event you're wondering what it's all about, it's for charity. Couldn't ask for a better cause. These Major League stars and celebrities have assembled here at Rancho Bernardo, California, against a team of all-American softballers from all over the country. Ray, as I understand it, we're going to be seeing more and more of this kind of play, and that these stars will travel around the country barnstorm for the benefit of raising dollars for worthy charities.
Well, that is definitely in the works, Eddie. We hope to be playing down in Dallas and Philadelphia and Chicago. We'll be back here in Rancho Bernardo and up in Fullerton or Los Angeles. And hopefully there'll be some big news about that trip above the water.
Rob Reiner, one of the celebrities.
Career, where are we headed in these upcoming months?
I've just finished directing my first feature film for Embassy Pictures, and it'll be out sometime in the fall. My first directorial job.
What's the name?
It's called Spinal Tap on Tour. It's about a British rock and roll band that's been together 15 years. The band is called Spinal Tap. It's a comedy, and it takes them on the tour across the United States.
When will we see that?
Well, if you were listening carefully, you would have heard me say that you will see it in the fall.
What do you see for the game today? What type of competition?
Well, I think, these guys, the all-American softballers, have been playing this slow pitch stuff for a while, and they're used to it, and I think the rhythm of it is going to be a little bit difficult for the major leaguers. If they had a chance for a week or two to get their rhythm, they could probably give them a good game, but I think these softballers are probably going to muscle, and they've all built like linebackers, these guys, and if you've seen them hit, they can, a couple of them can hit the ball 400 or 500 feet, a softball, which is, I've never seen anything like it, so.
Rob Reiner visiting with Ben David. And we'll take a look at a pitch that Charles Wright seemed to like, and watch this one travel.
He is one of the real power hitters in the game, Eddie.
And that makes it now 8-3. And as we pick up the live action, Glenn Atkinson, the catcher, is standing in. He homered the first time up. He started the home run swing going. They've now had 3. And that ball is hit right by Darren Johnson. Picked up by Billy Crystal, who's come into play at second base. Nice backup work by the young star. Well, he was right over there. Looked like an old Nellie Fox, or a young Nellie Fox over there trying to make that play behind second base.
Billy made the right play. Pitcher was supposed to be over there. Soros doesn't look like he's done too much running to first base in the last few years, though.
So Billy Crystal coming into play at second base and backing up the line drive that was off the glove of Darren Johnson, the Major League Stars first baseman. And we have a runner on. 1 on and 1 in here in the 3rd inning. Jeff Pick, the right fielder, is the hitter.
He's 1 for 1, Eddie. Single and came around to score there in the 2nd inning.
Jay Johnstone in left's going to get a look at this one again, as he has had a busy afternoon. He's hurdling fences. He could become the next Ronaldo Nehemiah, the softball set. The way he's going over those low fences out there. He has been up that hill, that warning track, and on that fence so far probably 10 times in this young game. Jay Johnstone of the Cubs in left, along with Kurt Bavacco in left center, Bob Miller in right center, and Tim Lawler of the Padres in right field. The outfield for the Major Leaguers.
Tom, was the fence in Cincinnati, the hill, I should say, in Cincinnati the same as this one out here?
Very, very similar. Really a unique situation for a Major League ballpark because the fence extended from the left field line all the way around to center. And the first time I ever went in there, I was out jogging in the outfield and kind of ran up that hill, and I thought, what in the world is this? And it was a disaster for many a visiting ball player that came in there.
When we were out here yesterday, we were joking about whether the left fielder was going to stand up on the hill and run in, or whether he was going to take a chance and stumble going back.
Here's a high pop-up off the bat of Pick, and Bavacco is circling. And we have one out, a run in, and a runner at first base here in the 3rd inning. And the event you just joined, it's 8-3. The National Slow Pitch All-American team with the lead, and the ballpark you were talking about in Cincinnati, the old Crosley Field. They had the moon deck. They had the terrace. It was a quaint ballpark, a fun place, but it's history now.
Sure is.
It's mostly in some man's backyard. Some fella came along there and bought most of the pieces and reassembled it in his backyard down in Kentucky. Bartlett.
Oh, that's going to carry close, and the wind gets it.
And the center fielder out there makes the play, Bob Miller. And on the play, the runner at first base, Atkinson tags and goes down to 7. So, we have 2 down, 1 in, and a runner at second base. So this is a 7-inning ball game played at JCary in California. Something you're going to be seeing a lot more of.
Kenny hit one that must have been 150 feet up in the air and carried out over that left field fence in the 3rd frame there, and that got 3 runs for the All-American team.
And a strike call, so it's 0-1 to Ken Dane. 3-run home run. You just talked about, got them rolling. Bavacco on that fly ball hit deep to center, but that wind knocking it down a little bit. It's 320 feet away from hitting a softball. And I might mention that while the major leaguers and celebrities are hitting a souped-up ball, the softballers are hitting a regulation softball, and there is a difference. At some point, we'll explain that difference to you with Bruce Meade. So, a run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left. Now played 3 full innings in this 7-inning charity softball game. And the score, the softballers 8 and the major leaguers 3. Billy Crystal, again with Ben Davey. Billy Crystal, one of the great performers in our country. Let's hear it.
Billy, that was a great play. You threw it to first base, nobody was there.
I thought he'd be there, you know, it's old college fundamentals. But, you know, this is just real exciting. My hand is swollen from that. These guys hit the ball hard. I was lucky. This guy, there was, you know, it would have been nice to get the out.
Did you miss your calling?
Yeah. When you make a play like that, you say, you know, maybe. And then you go, what? I'm crazy.
You're having a good time.
Yeah, it's great.
Back upstairs.
All right, Ben, thank you. Tom Griffin is with me, former Major League performer. That is Rob Reiner. And he's trying to keep it all in the family right here this afternoon. Played for the benefit of muscular dystrophy here in Rancho Bernardo, California. Well, we have one change. We've got Bruce Meade catching now. Normally that's where he plays, isn't it, Ray?
Bruce spends his time either behind the plate or out in right field, Eddie.
So the softballers with 8 runs and 11 hits. They've only left 3. They pick them up when they have to. And here's Kurt Bavacco. Kurt Bavacco.
What did you call him? Dirty Kurt.
Dirty Kurt. Remember that?
Dirty Kurt Vavakwa.
Hey, there's some other changes out there in the infield for the All-Americans. Al White is now at first base, and it'll be Boom Boom Bouchon is at second base. Mad Dog Dennis Myers is at third.
Sounds like a wrestling show. Going to first base, and the ball fielded out left center by Salura. I believe that's still Salura, Mike Salura. Vavakwa with a hit. He's had 2 hits so far the afternoon.
Good steady player.
Well, his boss, Ballard Smith, this year, and he's probably thinking, my goodness, we might have to find a steady spot for Dirty Kurt. Alan Trammell.
Kurt's going for an extension on the contract today.
Well, is he happy to hear you say that? That ball is hit well. Off the bat of Trammell. Back. That's a juiced up ball. And a nice start. I thought maybe the left fielder, Rich Wilborn, had it, but Trammell with a 2-run home run. So Alan Trammell gives the Major Leaguers their 4th and 5th runs of the ball game and their first home run. And Alan Trammell, who is not known to have a lot of power, showed us he had a little right there.
Here he is. Watch his swing. Alan hit 9 home runs for Detroit this year, which is really good production for a shortstop. He got all of that one. Ray, the left fielder, played pretty well on that.
He did. That's also not Richard Wilburn.
Well, they've made a change out there also. Ray, you want to give us that?
I'd be delighted to, Eddie, if I could tell exactly who it was.
And a base hit off the bat of Jay Johnstone. And out into center field. So we've got Alan Trammell standing by. Man that showed a little home run power with Ben David. Alan?
The first home run of the game. What you been doing to prepare for that? Well, I've been working down at the stadium trying to get in shape for the season. I feel pretty good and just glad to be out here. I enjoy all the sports, really. Back to you.
Foul ball. Man hitting right now, Randy Johnson of the Atlanta Braves. What about this fella, Tom?
Randy's brand new to the Major Leagues. Had a very, very good minor league career. He resides in Escondido, California, which is just down the road from where we are, and I think he's going to be a good addition, a very good addition this year to the Atlanta Braves.
That right center fielder out there now, Eddie, is John Brawley.
Well, let's get these lineups straight right now. As the manager for the softballers is coming out to talk to his big pitcher, Pollock, maybe you can run down that lineup for us, Ray.
Well, at first base, as we say, is Al White. Second, Boom Boom Bouchon. Third is Dennis Myers. The shortstop is Ken Dane, having moved over from third base. And behind the plate is Bruce Meade, and still tossing them up is Glenn Furman.
How about the outfield?
Well, John Brawley's in right center field. And we're going to have to take a brief time out here while I figure out who the other 3 are.
We made a change in left that we know about. We've
That's
not
correct.
had that. And who's moved over to third base? The shortstop?
No, he's new in the game. This is Dennis Myers. Ken Dane went from third base to do the shortstopping, Eddie.
All right, so Myers is at third and Dane is over at short.
Correct. Bouchon is at second. White is the first baseman.
And Bobby Miller flying out to left center field. We had Salura out there before, and we're trying to get a read on that right now. The left center fielder on the putout.
I believe that's...
Well, we know that Lawler's coming up to hit here for the Major Leaguers right now, Tim Lawler. Tom, what did you feel about the move to keep Lawler off the All-Star team this year?
Oh, I thought Tim was really dealt an unjust blow because he was having a great year. Finished the year at 16-9.
Well, we had a double play here to wipe up the end, up the bat of Lawler. Very well executed double play, I might add.
That's John Partee out in left center field, Eddie. John Partee.
We used to have an old Major League player by the name of Roy Partee. I wonder if this fellow's any relation.
That's true.
Way back. Gene Tennis is a fellow that's been around baseball for a long time. Recently, he left the St. Louis Cardinals, opting for free agency, and just signed a nice contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's with us this afternoon, and Ben David has him right now. Ben?
And it's that contract we want to talk to him about. That sounds pretty good. 3 years, no cut?
Yeah, it is. I'm very fortunate, at my age to get that type of a contract. It's a guaranteed contract, and I'm looking forward to going to Pittsburgh. Basically, I was born in that area, so I'm looking forward to going back there. I have a lot of relatives there, and it's a good ball club. I'm looking. They got a lot of ability there, a lot of talent, and of course I played for Chuck Tanner, so I'm looking forward to getting back with him again.
You're standing along the sidelines today. You're not playing. Why?
Well, I have a stipulation in my contract, and I'm so close to spring training. The organization didn't want me to come out here and jeopardize the chance of me getting hurt some way or another. So, unfortunately, that's what those contracts are all about.
What do we look for Pittsburgh this year?
Well, I feel they're a contending ball club, and I think it's going to be except for four clubs in our division. That's Montreal, St. Louis, and Philadelphia. It's going to be one of us 4 to win it.
Good. Back upstairs.
Okay, Ben. Thank you, Gene Tennis. Tennis, a good man. Also a native of this area. 8-5 now. The All-American team leading the Major League Stars.
This is Mike Lorden hitting now. Eddie having replaced Richard Wilburn in the leadoff spot in the batting order. Richard went out having been 2 for 2, a single at Dublin, scored twice, a typical Wilburn effort.
Now we got somebody out on the mound from the softball All-Stars pitching, replacing Storage.
This is JCary.
And Lord.
This is JCary. You can look for anything from him.
Look at this shot here as we look in from right field, that is, I believe. Bobby Cluck in right. And that's a pretty interesting shot right there. Johnny Rogers. Great professional football player. And on a nice play over there at third base. Aren't you a little concerned about getting that nice looking warm-up suit all dirty there, John? Made a kind of a lollipop throw over there, but he got the glove on it.
Hey, he made the stop, and I'm impressed. Made an accurate throw, but it was just too late.
Here's John Partee replacing Mike Solora in the batting order, and Solora left 2 for 2, a single and a double. Fine play, John. Hustle, hit, scratch.
Well, that time Rogers went down and got a little dirt on that good-looking outfit. Base hit. And that'll put runners at first and second. Lorden and Partee running at first and second for the National Slow Pitch All-American team. And that's going to bring in the big guy. They should have named him Boom Boom instead of Bouchon. This is Meade. He's the man that they call the Babe Ruth of softball.
The compliment to Bruce, Eddie, is when we just announced that this is Bruce, everybody knows who he is. He played on a national champion out of Jacksonville, Florida, Warren Motors, which only lost 2 games the whole year. 96-2 they went. I tell you, Carey is cagey. He'll get the fans all stirred up.
Look at this.
Watch it, Johnny.
Oh, boy, Johnny Rogers.
Hey.
Well, once an athlete, I guess always an athlete. He made a nice play, kept his head in the game, and got the man going to third. That's not a bad play.
Hello.
And he gets congratulated over there at shortstop. Billy Crystal is the second baseman. And we'll take a look at Johnny Rogers in action.
Foot race to the bag with Johnny. Still got that speed, doesn't he?
Well, he sure does.
And here's Al White having replaced Bill Pollock. Al was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and now makes Concord, California his home.
One down, runners at first and second. Meade and Partee on the bases. And Al White, the hitter.
Al has played in 11 national championships. 6 times he's been an all-world player. Been a home run champ in 2 of those 11 appearances in the Nationals. He has played from coast to coast, Eddie, with stop in Oklahoma City along the way.
And Al White gets the first walk of the ball game. All the histrionics that we're seeing out there right now by the pitcher, is that normal? Can he move around off the rubber that much?
Jimmy stretches the rules to the limit.
I would have to say so. I thought you had to have contact with the rubber when you made the pitch.
But, well, I'd say there's a little stretch going on here. But he's a showman first, really. There's the bull.
Big Furman and Bavacqua, who's had a lot of play. And Crick's not going to test the arm here as he goes to third base and prevents the runner Meade from moving along to third. But the All-Stars score a run, now lead 9-5. 9-5 with Meade at second and Al White at first. Partee was the man that scored on the play. And so they're starting to build up that lead.
I think
Al White, some numbers on him. White is over at first. You get a chance to see some of his credentials, and we go down to the field and take a look at the next pitch. to Bouchon. Boom, boom, fouls one. Boy, we have a nice crowd here today.
Beautiful day, beautiful setting for just about anything. I might mention also, we'll get a shot in just a minute here of Dave Rader, former San Francisco Giant catcher who has gone in to replace Eddie Herman behind the plate, and I don't see Eddie. I think he's off the field now.
Yeah. Deep fly ball off the bat of Bouchon.
And the boomer.
And Smith had it and lost it.
That's why he's a pitcher.
So Smith and Buddy Black, who are playing left center and right center, say, hey, I'm not used to this. This is not what we're used to doing. We just get out there a little bit before the games and shag fly balls, but this is serious stuff here. Don't want to get hurt. Another run in.
Are you charitable in your scoring of that one, Eddie? Or?
Well, I'm going to be charitable.
It's more charity.
There are no errors in this game.
Two pitchers out there. Watch Dave Smith. He got under it nicely. Problem was it was about 3 feet over his head.
Here's John Brawley.
Brawley stands feet close together. Carey pops him up. Pretty good pitch right there.
Notice how Carey directs the defense.
And the All-Stars come up with a couple of runs. So they padded their lead now, and they now lead at 10-5. And we played 4 innings of this 7-inning game for charity here at Rancho Bernardo, California. I certainly hope you're enjoying this as a look at something else that we're going to be seeing more of, they tell us, as they gather together here and a common bond trying to raise some funds for a very worthy cause. Some of the folks you see here, they've announced that they're probably somewhere around 6,500, 7,000 people. Johnny Rogers, didn't know he could play the game of baseball. He showed that he could do a little bit of that. He's standing by with Ben David. Ben?
And Johnny, you're a former Heisman Trophy winner. An athlete can be good at many things, eh?
I think so. I think we can be good at where we put our minds to, man.
You made some heck of plays in this last inning.
Thank you. I've enjoyed baseball. I got drafted to Dodge out of high school and played a little in college. And wish I had to play a little longer, to be honest.
Back upstairs.
A little bit of news that we didn't know anything about there. I had no idea that he was drafted for the Dodgers out of high school. And this is all part of the act here in Rancho Bernardo. Everybody out here having a good time.
Johnny Rogers was drafted by the Dodgers, he said. I guess that explains the reason for his ability out there at third base. Fine athlete. Here's Billy Crystal. I've been impressed, Eddie, with Billy Crystal.
Little Billy Crystal, there he is. Batting in that number 11 spot. Right away, he goes after one. They're playing him shallow. And a great pass for the left fielder. Well, it was shallowing up for Crystal, who we didn't think had much power. And he popped that one pretty good.
That was Mike Lorton and Eddie.
And let's watch him again. Looking at it over his shoulder. Here's a clinic, folks. A clinic on how to do it. Keeps his eye on the ball until it makes contact with his glove and then goes into a beautiful roll. I'll give him an 8.5 on that roll.
So with one down here at the top of the 5th inning.
Dave Rader, former San Francisco Giant, as we mentioned a while ago, is now moved into catcher.
Al White. Whoa, he dropped the ball. And the pitcher covering. Big Furman. Big Furman had a hard time bending over after that one.
Well, he's supporting 320 pounds there, Eddie.
It's a lot of lasagna right there, baby.
You don't get a good look at your belt. Those kind of numbers.
Or very often.
He made the move to the bag properly. I must say one thing, though. The first baseman fired a seed at him. That was a tough play.
A seed. Listen to the baseball talk now. And with the fielder's choice, the runner advancing the first, Rader's dropped out at second base. So Rader is eliminated at second. We have 2 down. And this is Jay Steinfeld. This is the fellow we didn't know too much about before the game. This guy's got muscle on muscle. Look at those eyebrows. They're even well built.
Body by Jake.
Oh, Mike Lorton playing that curveball beautifully. The right fielder now, Eddie, incidentally, is Greg Wolf over from Phoenix.
All right, so they start throwing some strange names at us, and you know one thing, they man certain positions out there, and we'll try and keep it going for you. There it is, 10-5 score. And you see the totals, 10 runs, 12 hits, 5 runs, 9 hits. The Major Leaguers are trying to keep it close. So far, did you expect this to be the case here, Tom Griffin?
I think the Major Leaguers ought to petition for 4 or 5 outs here per inning. I'm surprised that the score is as close as it is. I think our guys are doing a pretty good job. Our Major League guys are playing a pretty good ball game. I'm not surprised with the softballers because they're great. They're good athletes, and they're showing exactly what they can do.
There's one difference, Tom, right now between the Easterners and the Westerners in the softball business. Of course, you all out here can play 12 months of the year. Boys from the East give up in September. So for all of them coming out here, this has been the first outing of the year, if you will. Those waistlines. Look at
the voice of Ray Moll. Ray, how about yourself? You travel around with these guys. They push you around the country pretty hard.
Oh, it's great. I'm so fortunate, Eddie, I can't tell you.
This is Wolf, who just popped it up. And the shortstop, the unidentified Mr. X. We still don't know who he is. He came from nowhere, never even had a name on him. I think he's one of those local ringers they threw at us.
That's all right. He made the play. I think they brought him out of the stands.
He was in one of those $6 seats, I think.
Here's Rob Bartlett. Bartlett, a good-looking player. And Bob Cluck in right field, who is the head of the minor league operation for the San Diego Padres. That's an interesting look, looking in. Boy, is that thing kissed. Bavacqua turned around and turned right back. He knew better. He's seen a few of those also. Bavacqua, incidentally, we might mention, his Bartlett just really creamed one. Bavacqua has played every position imaginable in baseball. And I don't know that he's pitched, but I think he's tried everything else, hasn't he, Tom?
Kurt has played in one game. In fact, he's one of the few guys in one game that has played every position. Here's a look at that home run again. Got every single bit of it. Kurt went back and turned around. Jay Johnstone might be out on the other side of the fence.
Now we get a look at Dennis Myers. Dennis is one of the 4 firemen in this game, Eddie.
And Cary's trying to put out the fire right now for the Major Leaguers and the celebrities. Myers. Nice play by Johnny Rogers.
Johnny Rogers.
Hey, he's been the surprise of the ball game so far.
He'd still be playing baseball, by golly.
11-5 in the event you just joined. This is a charity softball game matching the National Slow Pitch All-American team versus a team of Major League All-Stars and celebrities, including Johnny Rogers.
Back to Mike Lorton, who's done very well in the field since replacing Richard Wilburn. Mike had a bad blow last September, I guess actually in the end of August. He had to have a knee operation last year and missed the opportunity of playing in the Nationals down in Greensboro, North Carolina.
5 home runs in the ball game, 4 by the softballers. And Lord punches one the other way, and it's foul. Speared by some of the folks. Everybody seems to be having a good time. Lots of autographs, festivities here. Charitable event. Now one of the balls gets loose. Tom, basically the difference between the 2 balls?
The 2 balls we're using today, the Major League players are using a ball that, as you said, was juiced up. It's not doing them much good, tell you the truth. The softballers are using a ball that is toned down slightly, and they're hitting the ball out of the ballpark with consistency.
Pop the other way. Coming on. Bavacqua can't get to it. Went up a little early. Don't get hurt, Kurt. Billy Crystal chasing it down. Look at that. And here comes the throw to the plate. And all the way around to score is Lord. So you got to get 4 on it. As Bavacqua still on his knees out there in foul territory.
And I'd say that indicated that Mike's knee is back in good shape.
So the home run.
The 5th of the game for the All-Stars.
And the 6th overall.
All-Americans, I should say.
Alan Trammell had 1, 2 home runs in the inning.
Here is the Chief, John Partee.
And they go the other way. Out to right field, well-hit ball right there. And Partee goes into second base without much of a try. Oh, he didn't slide. And they put the tag on him, and Partee is out. Well, you almost took it for granted. In fact, you did. But a good throw out there from Bob Cluck in right field from the Padre organization. And so they get the Chief. But not before the softballers come up with a couple of runs on 2 home runs and now have taken a 12-5 lead after 5 innings of play.
That's a good way for the Chief to lose his title.
May have been a charitable call.
I thought that evened the score.
So we'll roll right along as we go to the 6th inning and allow you the opportunity to get caught up with some of the folks here that are performing here today. Some of the major leaguers: Dave Smith of Houston, Aaron Johnson of Philadelphia, Kurt Bavacqua of the Padres, Bob Miller, a coach with the Giants, Big Frank Howard, coach with the Mets, Randy Johnson of Atlanta, Jim Hall, who has come out here and donated his time. And we've got the coach now of the softballers with Ben David. Ben?
Tom Stitch, manager of the All-Stars. That call at second base, what did it look like to you?
Well, it looked like he was safe to me. I think sometimes these umpires might give it a little bit to the major leaguers. You know, they don't want to show him up too much, and he definitely was safe. And maybe they're paying these guys. I don't know.
What type of a team do we have with the All-Stars here?
We've got the 20, we feel, some of the, well, I will put it this way. There's 20 of the top players around the United States right now. There's a lot more that could be on this team, but we picked 20, and of course we left some out, but they're the best right now.
Is there thoughts of going on the road with them and playing elsewhere?
Right. We're planning to play the Dallas Cowboys in June, and then from there we're going to Philadelphia and play the Philadelphia Flyers and the 76ers, and hopefully we'll get some armed forces.
Looks like a great year. Back to the game.
Thank you.
All right, fellas, thank you. This is Kurt Bavacqua, been a very active fellow, one of the fellows who is contributing time here to this charitable event. It's a little tough to say sometimes. And a nice play by the second baseman out there. That's Boom Boom Bouchon over to Al White. And Bavacqua retired trying to punch the ball the opposite way that time. Some of the other names: Randy Jones, Tim Lawler, Rob Reiner, Billy Crystal, you've heard, Timmy Flannery, Bob Cluck, Johnny Rogers, and Jay Johnstone. Some of the big names that are here this afternoon. This is Mr. X. We
who is he?
Haven't found out who he is.
Mr. X. Let's see what he can do.
Has to be one in every game.
Made a nice play at shortstop. I'll say that for him.
Got to put a mask on this fella. Then it would really be befitting.
Tom Stitch was kind of alluding to being robbed. Well, the umpire at second base happens to be a policeman here in Rancho Bernardo.
That's the wrong word to use around him.
That's
right?
true.
Right center fielder, John Raleigh. And so we have 2 down here in the 6th inning. So they're working through the order right now. Dave Smith is in batting for Jay Johnstone. He's been in the ball game for a couple of innings now. He replaced Jay when Jay went out.
Dave Smith has been a real important part of the Houston Astros attack. From the mound, he just hit the ball pretty hard to left field for a base hit. But Dave is the mainstay now in that Astro bullpen since Joe Zambito has, the last few years, suffered from elbow problems.
Joe Zambito, about 10 miles from where I'm from.
One of the best.
Island.
One of the best relievers in the game on the left side.
Knocked down toward his second, not in time. Runner will pick up and head to third base. That's Dave Smith. And so the error on the play at second base, but we don't call errors here. We just allow the runner to reach first. We're being charitable today. Johnny Rogers over at first base. Dave Smith over at third. Bavacqua can't get to it. Went up a little early. Don't get hurt, Kurt. Billy Crystal chasing it down. Look at that. And here comes the throw to the plate. And all the way around to score is Lorden. So you got to get 4 on it. As Bavacqua still on his knees out there in foul territory.
And I'd say that indicated that Mike's knee is back in good shape.
So the home run.
The 5th of the game for the All-Stars.
And the 6th overall.
All-Americans, I should say.
Alan Trammell had 1, 2 home runs in the inning.
Here is the Chief, John Partee.
And they go the other way. Out to right field, well hit ball right there. And Partee goes into second base without much of a play. He didn't slide. And they put the tag on him, and Partee is out. Well, you almost took it for granted. In fact, you did. But a good throw out there from Bob Cluck in right field from the Padre organization. And so they get the Chief. But not before the softballers come up with a couple of runs on 2 home runs and now have taken a 12-5 lead after 5 innings of play.
That's a good way for the Chief to lose his title.
May have been a charitable call.
I thought that evened the score.
So we'll roll right along as we go to the 6th inning and allow you the opportunity to get caught up with some of the folks here that are performing here today. Some of the major leaguers: Dave Smith of Houston, Aaron Johnson of Philadelphia, Kurt Bavacqua of the Padres, Bob Miller, a coach with the Giants, Big Frank Howard, coach with the Mets, Randy Johnson of Atlanta, Jim Hall, who has come out here and donated his time. And we've got the coach now of the softballers with Ben David. Ben?
Tom Stitch, manager of the All-Stars. That call at second base, what did it look like to you?
Well, he looked like he was safe to me. I think sometimes these umpires might give it a little bit to the major leaguers. You know, they don't want to show him up too much, and he definitely was safe. And maybe they're paying these guys. I don't know.
What type of a team do we have with the All-Stars here?
We've got the 20. We feel some of the. Well, I will put it this way: there's 20 of the top players around the United States right now. There's a lot more that could be on this team, but we picked 20, and of course we left some out. But they're the best right now.
Is there thoughts of going on the road with them and playing elsewhere?
Right. We're planning to play the Dallas Cowboys in June, and then from there we're going to Philadelphia and play the Philadelphia Flyers and the 76ers, and hopefully we'll get some armed forces.
Looks like a great year. Back to the game.
Thank you.
All right, fellas, thank you. This is Kurt Bavacqua, been a very active fellow, one of the fellows who is contributing time here to this charitable event. It's a little tough to say sometimes. And a nice play by the second baseman out there. That's Boom Boom Bouchon over to Al White. And Bavacqua retired trying to punch the ball the opposite way that time. Some of the other names: Randy Jones, Tim Lawler, Rob Reiner, and Billy Crystal, you've heard. Timmy Flannery, Bob Cluck, Johnny Rogers, and Jay Johnstone. Some of the big names that are here this afternoon. This is Mr. X. We still haven't found out who he is.
Mr. X, let's see what he can do.
Has to be one in every game.
Made a nice play at shortstop, I'll say that for him.
Got to put a mask on this fella, then it would really be befitting.
Tom Stitch was kind of alluding to being robbed. Well, the umpire at second base happens to be a policeman here in Rancho Bernardo.
That's the wrong word to use around him.
That's
right?
true.
Right center fielder, John Raleigh. And so we have 2 down here in the 6th inning. So they're working through the order right now. Dave Smith is in batting for Jay Johnstone. He's been in the ball game for a couple of innings now. He replaced Jay when Jay went out.
Dave Smith has been a real important part of the Houston Astros attack. From the mound, he just hit the ball pretty hard to left field for a base hit. But Dave is the mainstay now in that Astro bullpen since Joe Zambito has, the last few years, suffered from elbow problems.
Joe Zambito, about 10 miles from where I'm from.
One of the best.
Island.
One of the best relievers in the game on the left side.
Knocked down, throw to second, not in time. Runner will pick up and head to third base. That's Dave Smith. And so the error on the play at second base, but we don't call errors here. We just allow the runner to reach first. We're being charitable today. Johnny Rogers over at first base. Dave Smith over at third. And Buddy Black, pitcher with the Kansas City organization. That'll make it 12-6 as Smith crosses the plate. And on the play, Johnny Rogers around to third. Johnny Rogers, in the event that you're interested in what he's doing, he's in the publishing business. Has a sports magazine he's involved with and active in the San Diego community. Looks like he's lost a little weight. Johnny Rogers does. Coach at third over there is Don Harvey. Bobby Cluck. Oh, boy.
Maybe he gets out and delivers his own magazines, Eddie.
My goodness
Help to
gracious.
keep him in shape.
Cluck. Oh, he got a little bit of that. Playing with aluminum bats. It's something you don't see in the major leagues, at least not yet. And the line drive out, that's going to do it. But the major leaguers come up with another run. We've now played through 5.5 innings of play, and the score of the ball game is 12-6.
Major leaguers are trying to make this a ball game. I'm standing here with Bruce Mead, all-star softballer. Bruce, the smart money is on the softballers today rather than the major league players, and because of that, we're using two separate balls. Maybe you could explain what the major league players will be using and what the softball all-stars will be using.
All righty. This is the cork ball, and the all-stars are going to be using this ball. The major leaguers are going to use the hot ball. You want to put that up here? That's the hot ball for the major leaguers. It'll go further. And I think that's what they want. I mean, we're going to be a little overmatched for them anyway, so they're going to even it up with the ball. This ball will go about 50 feet further than this cork ball.
You know, a lot of these guys are still playing. Are you going to take it easy on them?
Well, we're all trying to get into shape, too. It's early for us, too. So, sure.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to a great game today. Good luck to you. Take it easy on our guys.
Thank you very much.
And we're back with more action in the bottom of the 6th inning. And this is the man that everybody's been kind of waiting to see here. This is Bruce Mead. He is yet to connect. And you can mark down. Oh, boy.
Oh, your words were... Oh, that'll do it. That's a typical Mead masher.
He must have hit that one 450 feet.
The guy is an animal.
Oh, Eddie, he has hit balls, legitimate home run balls, in 3 major league ballparks. The Astrodome.
Look at the determination.
And so now it's 13-6, Bruce Mead. Well, that'll get them talking and buzzing a little bit. Question about the power in that man. Here's Al White. So we finally got a chance to see Mead connect, and he did not disappoint.
Al White is probably the most traveled of all of the major league softball players.
Fly ball, Bobby Cluck again. Cluck's been pretty busy since he's come on. And so White retired on a deep fly ball to right center field. Bruce Mead is with Ben David. I want to hear what he has to say, so Ben, you got it.
This happens to be a history-making event for Bruce Mead. This is his first home run of this year. How many did we do last year?
I hit 115 in 80 games, about 300 at bats. So that's not too bad and not real good either, I guess, in some places.
Back to you.
Thank you, Ben. Well, our numbers were a little bit off. Maybe he had the 300-plus total the year before, but he is definitely a home run threat. How about this fella?
Redland, Pennsylvania, suburb of York. He is the youngest player to have played in the most number of national championships. The only player in slow pitch softball to be the batting champion in 3 different nationals. Greg Furman, the Bull.
Greg Furman, he's retired. We have 2 down, and Boom Boom Bouchon is in the ball game. Been in for a couple of innings now, and he'll have an opportunity to see what he can do right here.
Newest member of the USSSA Hall of Fame. He is a deputy chief in the fire department in Phoenix.
Well, these guys got everything they have going into that pitch.
And Greg Wolf, who's out there in right field for the All-Americans, works for L.B. Bouchon vocationally.
Vocationally. All right. L.B. Bouchon of the U.S. All-American softball team.
He was in the Cubs chain and the Dodgers.
2 down, a run in. 13-6. And this is the bottom of the 6th inning. And they have informed us, because the fans are enjoying this one so much, as Bavacqua goes back and tries that fence that Johnstone didn't manage too well earlier, that it's a foul ball. But they have informed us that because the crowd is enjoying what they've seen so far, that we're going to extend the normal 7-inning game and going 9.
Get your glove out.
My glove.
Get your glove. You're playing shortstop next
my
inning.
old 3-finger glove.
May have to call for the oxygen tents for a few of the players out there.
And the sun's starting to pop through. It's been overcast and cool here in California as a cold front came through last night.
Oh, there's...
Oh, boy.
There's a Bouchoner.
Bavacqua. Bavacqua's probably had more exercise today than he's had since the end of the season.
I think that the Major League player's pitcher ought to change his game plan. This isn't really working too well, Ray.
No, they generally catch up to Jimmy in the
here it is again.
Regular games.
I get the impression that the all-star softballers are aiming at one thing each swing.
Pretty
about
much.
450 feet out there.
Pretty much.
There's Brawley at the plate now. 7 home runs for the slow pitchers. 7, 8 in the game. 1 by Alan Trammell of the major leaguers. That's popped up, and the infamous now Mr. X again.
There he is.
Can we find a name for that fellow?
I think Mr.
X sounds good to me.
I really think we ought to get him a mask. So we've played 6. And they start to fatten the lead again. And now it's 14-6 with the major leaguers.
You miss those extra points, and they're going to catch you sooner or later.
Well, it won't get snuffed out by darkness or snow.
6-4-7.
Carey now, the pitcher for the major leaguers. They brought him over from the All-Stars to pitch. A little twist when the starting pitcher didn't quite have it this afternoon, Don Storitz. And so Carey rifles a single to left field. And the left fielder out there, Lorden, can't quite get his glove in a position to make the catch, and we have another hit. So the hits keep on a-coming, as they say. And Billy Crystal now has had a few hits himself in the acting business, one being the feature soap. And now on tour, a very funny young man takes a pitch, a strike. He was robbed the first time up. Punches one back up the middle. Shortstop can't make a play on it. That's Ken Dane. And so runners now at first and second.
Can't argue with that plate umpire either, Eddie, because it's tough to speak up to a president.
Here's Billy Crystal, right back up the middle. Shortstop made a good play, or a good try of it, couldn't quite hold on.
Back to Mr. Brulette there, the plate umpire. Well, there we go. Oh!
Big league play right there by Al White.
That's why he's been one of the best in slow pitch softball.
Dave Rader will check out. Played with Rader up in San Francisco, didn't you?
Dave was actually gone the year that I got to San Francisco, but I played against Dave for a number of years. Was a good solid catcher, good ball player.
Moves the runners up, and here's Rob Reiner. I wonder how Meathead's doing these days. We haven't had a chance to talk to him.
He's still eating.
I'm sure he's got some fond thoughts about old Arch. Shortstop. Looks to the plate, throwing a first nice play over there by White, but he pulled his foot off the bag.
I don't know whether he pulled his foot off or not, but that was a fine play. Look at this, Billy Crystal.
Heads up, Crystal.
Snuck home for another run.
And it's now 14-8. And here's Jay Steinfeld. Steinfeld, who is an actor in Hollywood.
Big actor in Hollywood.
Yeah, very big. About 19 inches in the biceps for sure. A couple of runs are across. It's 14-8. And Steinfeld.
Oh, wow.
And Al White can't make the play. And you've got runners at first and second. But let's go back to the play that Billy Crystal scored on. Billy Crystal heads up. While they were trying to figure out what went wrong at first base on the call. They scored a run, and Crystal coming across to make it 14-8. Crowd now being thanked for attending here this afternoon. And Kurt Bavacqua will now step in. Padres infield, they can add outfield, they can add bench, and they can add clubhouse and bus, because he does his job in all of those areas. Bavacqua is a very funny guy, and some of his best action is on the bus, going to and from the games. That went pretty well. Right center fielder right there. And you've got the play, and Bavacqua retired.
One of the toughest jobs in Major League Baseball is a pinch hitter, and Kurt does just an excellent job there. He's a very, very valuable cog in the Padre machine, Eddie.
Well, you got them all today. You marched them up. They can hold them back on that one.
Should be quite a year in San Diego, shouldn't it, Tom?
Padres have made some moves, have acquired some people, one being Steve Garvey, another being Ed Whitson, a pitcher from the Cleveland Indians that should turn them into a contender. Mr. X just lifted a fly ball to center field.
That'll do it. But the major leaguers and celebrities have come up with a couple, and it's 14-8 now. So they chip away, and look at the hits. Not that much different. 14-8, 17-15. The difference has been the long ball. And the softballers have 7 of those. So they've seen that they can push it pretty good. Ben David is on the sideline. He's been a busy guy today, and he's standing back down there with Rob Reiner. So, Ben, let's find out what's on his mind.
And with Rob Reiner, I think he's been a little busier. I hear him puffing here. You got on with an error.
They call that an error? Boy, those scores are tough here. Tough.
How you enjoying the game?
Good. Thanks a lot.
Back to you.
They scored it an error. I'm giving it to them. We already decided a long time ago that since this is a charitable cause, we will have no errors in this game. There's Gene Tennis, his wife Linda, the rest of the family running around here somewhere. Gene Tennis off back to his native Pittsburgh very shortly to perform for the Pirates this year.
Reunited with Chuck Tanner.
Reunited with Chuck Tanner.
Years in Oakland.
That's a good man, Chuck Tanner.
One of the best.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have
14 runs on 17 hits. That's the story of the ball game in the bottom of the 7th inning. And here's Mr. Wolf to face off against JCary.
Greg played at East High School out in Phoenix, and he was an all-state football player, as he said, 40 pounds ago.
Look at the size of that fellow.
Greg goes 225. He's 6'3". He's just edged over into the 30-year bracket.
These fellas look like they live on a training table 3 meals a day. I don't know what kind of exercise they do with it, but they look like they get some pretty good protein in it.
Greg Furman had 15 hamburgers for lunch yesterday.
15. That's with or without the pickles. I've got to believe that if we march some of these softballers out pre-Olympic, we could scare some of those Europeans. They got some size here.
They would psych them out. There's a lot of meat on the hoof.
At today's prices, that's not too bad either. Carey. Infield playing just about straight away, and that is Bavacqua's ball.
Plays that hill beautifully.
Yeah, he's a fellow that's been at that old Crosley field probably once or twice.
Kurt's definitely old enough to have been there.
Bavacqua. He's a real fun guy to be around.
It's a good thing you're bigger than he, Tom.
That's a nice uniform Kurt has on too, isn't it?
Yeah, Kurt looks better today than he has in years, though.
14-8. This is Denny Myers. Played in the Oakland organization. How many of these fellows on this slow pitch team actually have had major league or organized baseball experience, Ray?
Well, it's a great number of them had organized experience, Eddie. Not too many of them come out of the major leagues per se, but a lot of ingrown baseball, a lot of sweat and toil and tears. And
watch Bavacqua. Make the throw, Kurt.
Oh, he's going to try it, and that's going to score a run. That will score the run. So they've added another, and now it's 15. 15 for the slow pitch All-Stars.
President and CEO said he beat the toss. Bavacqua held on just a little too long.
There goes another year on Kurt's contract.
Well, one thing we know, we will not have him in there as the designated thrower.
Well, he's going to challenge Lawton again. Remember last time Mike batted, he drove the ball over Kent's head. Excuse me.
John Walkenfuss stance almost right here. Just
there he is.
Not quite as exaggerated, but stands deep in the box and doesn't get that 1 foot over quite as far.
I enjoy watching these fellows.
That's from the left side.
Well, Mr. X again.
Mr. X is going to be on the All-Star team, the most valuable player here if we're not careful.
Would you say that Dennis Myers had been X'd out?
X'd out. Very good. Partina, the Chief. 15-8 score. Bottom of the 7th inning. Bruce Meade is on deck.
Look at that ball die.
That's a hit. That's in fair territory. Bavacqua keeps it alive. Look, Bavacqua is really hustling out there today. He's been impressive. He and Johnny Rogers. And the ever-present Mr. X.
Here we go again.
Here comes Kurt. He kind of brodies around the audience here to get that ball.
Roadies. Now, what does that mean?
He kind of spun out.
Give us that clubhouse talk now, Tom.
Eddie, we started to talk about Bruce's batting averages before. In consecutive years, he hit 711, 764, 720, and then dropped to 692, went back to 757, and improved that up to 767, which is what he hit in 81.
692 had a bad year, huh?
He did. It cost him a bit on his per diem.
Is that about it? What kind of money do these fellas make? Do they make any money? We talked about that once before.
We did, Eddie. It's an amateur sport. I see. Their expenses are taken care of.
I see. Who pays for their food then?
Some may have more expenses than, well, when you have 15 hamburgers just for lunch and 2 of those 32-ounce steaks for dinner, it runs up a little bit.
Didn't quite get that one.
Bavacqua may, though.
Maybe.
It does.
Nice play, Kurt.
That's your Rabbit Moranville catch. You remember him, Eddie?
Well, wait a minute. I know the name well. I don't remember him.
Oh, all right.
15-8. That's the score of our ball game. We've played 7, and you see the All-Stars with 20 hits and the Major Leaguers 15. And they're going to keep it rolling here. Look, we've got a great crowd here today. Even brought some cheerleaders to the action here today, and that's the local high school entertaining the crowd. Everybody's having a good time.
This is just tremendous, and we look forward to another good crowd tonight at the tourney, at the dinner.
I know that the softballers are looking forward to the dinner. Kurt Bavacqua. We've talked a lot about him today. It seems like every time he is around some kind of action, he is right in the forefront, and he's down on the sideline with Ben Davey. Kurt and Ben.
Kurt, you've been getting quite a workout today. What's happening out there?
Well, personally, I'm enjoying the game immensely, but I don't think my body is really having a real good time.
Your infield utility, San Diego Padres. How's the difference out there?
Well, there's a big difference. It's something you have to adapt to. It's not the same swing. These guys play a lot of softball. And I think we're giving them a pretty good show.
You happy with your batting so far?
Not really. I'm only 2 for 3.
Back to you.
We better get Kurt on some granola, quick. He's struggling with the wind. Here's Dave Smith. Pitcher, Houston, Dane. Dane's made a couple of those plays. No errors, remember. We don't want to give many errors. We started season off on the right foot.
Well, we got Glenn Atkinson back in the game behind the plate. Al White is tossing him up. Donnie Walden is over at first now.
So Atkinson went out for a couple of innings. We've got different rules.
We do.
We can take him out, put him back in. Here's Johnny Rogers.
It's charity to give them a break.
Look at John. Whoa, second base hit for Johnny.
Johnny Rogers.
He's done it all today, Eddie.
I'll tell you what, he made that turn at first base. He looked like he was about ready to look back for the pass.
Johnny's done it all. Made a dive and didn't get a speck of dirt on that white sweatsuit.
That's one of those special made suits for Johnny Rogers. Here's Buddy Black. Black used to be with the Giants organization, went down to Kansas City in one of those multiplayer trades. Boy, that was a strong throw with the left center fielder that time. So the runners hold at first and second. Rogers and Smith. Bob Cluck. Top of the 8th inning.
That left center fielder with that good arm you mentioned is Mike Salora. One of the best in the game. Charles Wright getting a different perspective now over at third base.
Good Bob Cluck hit that ball.
Ooh. He's having a fun day here today, Cluck.
Bob Cluck is one of the founders and instructors in the San Diego School of Baseball.
15-8. Cluck almost clocked that one.
That's good, Ray. I like that. Oh. And Bob Cluck taking a pitch, showing good patience.
That's Richard Wilburn back there in left field. Richard, probably the finest defensive left fielder in the last 10 and 12 years.
Most of the action in the slow pitch circuit, nighttime, or do they play a lot of daytime games as well?
The tournaments we played, we start at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, and Sunday mornings anywhere from 8 to 10. So we play a lot of day and night.
160. You play usually double headers on a normal day, or maybe even more.
Oh, we may. I've done as many as 13 games in one day.
13 games in a day?
Yes, sir. It's a long day, afternoon, evening, and night.
How many years you been doing this?
Oh, about 20.
20 years.
Yes, sir. Fantastic. It's great.
Really? But the all-stars of Major League and celebrity fame come up with a run, and the final score of the baseball game or the softball classic, whichever, and there it is. The softball all-stars 16, the celebrity cast 9. And they exchange handshakes down on the field, and we certainly hope that you have enjoyed. These fellas gave it a good go, and again, we'll remind you that it was all for charity and all for a good cause for muscular dystrophy here in Rancho Bernardo. Coaches from both teams are down with Ben David. Let's get their reaction. Ben?
All right, we have the two coaches here. First of all, Dave Garcia, your opinion of how the afternoon transpired.
Well, it was quite obvious that we were overmatched. Those boys that represented the softball team, they're very good. They can hit. They know more about the game than we do. We hit a lot of fly balls. They hit more line drives. They hit more balls out of the park. They're strong. I got a big kick out of them because they made a believer out of me. I never thought softballs could be hit that far, but they got a lot of power.
Your team enjoyed itself today.
Oh, our guys had a good time. We didn't play the Major League ball, but about three innings, or maybe 4. But the other kids that played, Billy Crystal and that Reiner boy and that big Seinfeld kid that was built like a little bit like a Lou Ferrigno, whatever his name is, he swung the bat pretty good. I think that it was a real fine ball game.
And it was a fine ball game, and the man that put it together?
Well,
what did you think?
I think that it was a lot of fun for everybody, and I think with helping Jerry's kids out with MDA, and this is an annual event. We'll be back here next year, and hopefully, with, like as I said before, be around the country and doing a lot more like this. And the major leaguers showed us a little bit more than we thought they had. Maybe next time we might make it a little bit bigger score. We hope so.
That's the story from here, back upstairs.
For Ray Malfi and Tom Griffin, this is Eddie Doucette. We'll tell you again. The final score is 16-9 from the Westwood Club in Rancho Bernardo, California. We hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for being with us, and so long.